Hello everybody, hope you're doing very well and welcome to tonight's Contenders live stream, which is obviously on a Wednesday evening tonight, slightly different time, but I hope that you are all doing very well. And if you are watching this back later, then enjoy your evening of watching back the stream. So today's live stream is going to be covering the following. The outline that I have here is starting with the Neo chart of the week setup. And yeah, there were some very nice entries this week. And at the end of the stream, I'm going to cover a few of the entries of how they were incorrect and why they were incorrect, because they were yeah, some of them were very incorrect, so I'm going to go through that at the end, but I'm going to start with my Neo chart setup of the week, and this is continuing on, so it gives the opportunity of people that like to that continue on the setup that we're going through here. You have that opportunity. Okay, so now I'm going to be going through Neo, and then we're going to be moving on. After I've done chart of the week, I'm going to be moving on to how I map out support and resistances, and this is going to be like a crucial lesson because support and resistances are so crucial to make sure you're doing it right. So I'm going to be going through that today. And then I'll be ending with a technical analysis on the day of the Binance hack. So today, the 8th of the 5th, is the day Binance got hacked for about 47,000 Bitcoin. So quite interesting of what's going on the charts. And then I'll end with a questions and answers related to tonight's stream. Okay. So let me just, as always, check that this sound is working fine. Yes, that is. Oh, big echo on the stream. Somebody has said there's a big echo. The 5th is... Oof, I am not sure why you would hear an echo. I will continue, and if other people start to write there's an echo, then I will obviously stop. But I have no idea why you would hear an echo. Hopefully it might, well, I guess it might just be you at the moment. If anybody else has an echo, then please write. And if no one else writes, I'm going to have to continue on. Okay. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed tonight's session, and let's go through the Bitcoin chart. Okay, just continue. And if other people, yeah, there's no echo, so let's continue. So yeah, here we are looking at the Neo chart. This is the setup that I had through. Let me show you on the PowerPoint version first. Okay, I can make this a little bit bigger. Actually, I'll just load up the original photo for you. Okay. There we go. Okay, so this is the setup that I went through. Yeah, sorry, I'm just a bit distracted by the comments, but yeah, if no one else is commenting, I don't hear an echo. Okay, yeah, I'm going to continue on. There's no echo apparently. So yeah, this is the setup that I'm looking at. Okay, so it was a short on Neo. The short as wrote. Okay, so I've highlighted it. Okay, so my short entry was placed at $9.59, so $9.95, okay, above the price. What does this mean? When we are playing above the price, we are waiting for price to move up into our short entry, okay, to then come back down. This requires patience, okay? You're already in the downtrend and you are starting to get a bounce, okay? We're starting to get a bounce off of a key support, which I'll cover in a second. We're starting to bounce off of a key support, okay? What can you do when you're in a downtrend? We are in a downtrend, okay? So on the retracements in a downtrend equals a good short opportunity, and so yeah, this is your short opportunity for a retracement in a downtrend to continue on down. Okay, obviously my risk is extremely small here, being only 1.4%. okay, I noticed that every entry that was done on chart of the week this week was a long entry, so that was something I noticed. Everybody was long, and obviously I done the short, and the short is profitable right now. But yeah, this is what I wanted to highlight, that we're in a downtrend, okay? Retracements in a downtrend. Obviously, at some point, you're going to lose the downtrend and you break up, but I'm still comfortable trading short downtrends when they're on a daily time frame, okay? And obviously, we were just bouncing from a potential sort of double bottom support here, finding that downtrend resistance and moving down, okay? So what I want to highlight here is short limit was placed above the current price at $9.59. okay, the time frame of this trade was a short-term time frame, okay, planned yeah, for a few days to be held, not any sort of long-term time frame. Okay, I'm going to load up the picture because I have a feeling that people couldn't see it very well, so I hope that you can view this picture okay. So this was obviously taken on the 6th, which was 2 days ago, so this was was taken 2 days ago. Okay, I'm going to close that back down. Okay, so I'll go through the reasons while going through this trade. Okay, so what we are looking at here, okay, let me just explain this because it was actually quite a good trade. So we're going to be going through this in detail. Okay, so what we see here, okay, today's focus, as mentioned at the start, is going to be on horizontal support and resistances and how I mapped them out. So let's first, I'm going to delete this short position box because it's in the way. Okay, so let's first look at what I was looking at in terms of simple resistances horizontally. I'm going to remove this channel, okay, to clear up the chart. I'm going to remove no, we'll leave the trend line for now. It's fine. Okay, so let's first go through where we were seeing bounces from and where we were expecting to see resistances. Okay, first, we can clearly see on the horizontals why we saw this original bounce the first time, okay, and then how we originally saw this second bounce where I was shorting for the chart of the week setup, okay. So we can clearly see, looking all the way back on the daily, okay, all the way back on the daily, okay, the original bounce was taken from the support that was created all the way back on the 20th of November. So the 20th of November, we found resistance, support, resistance, 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 resistance. All of that resistance flipped into support for the bounce. So I first wanted to highlight why we were seeing that original bounce at this level, okay? Because it definitely was a strong support, okay, which has now been broken, crucially. But you know, that was the reason we found that first initial bounce, and we're talking about that initial bounce was big, by the way. Okay, so the initial bounce was a 14% bounce, okay, so we saw that original bounce, but we just continued in the downtrend, okay, just continuing in the downtrend, bouncing again, okay, so this was where I was entering my shorts off of the second bounce from this support, okay, second bounce from the support, okay. Where was I looking? Just simply horizontally at resistance. You can see here, the high on the 16th of March, okay, so we formed a high of resistance, we move up, form a, you know, shooting star sort of high, and we fall back down, okay. So we get that shooting star to form our resistance line, and we fall back down, okay. From that resistance, we broke and we retested it as support, support, support. So now we have a zone which has been tested as resistance and support, okay. And then you zoom in here, you can see also how it was here, support exactly. So support, resistance, resistance on these. This is the 4-hour chart, so 12 hours worth of wicks. Again, support, support, resistance, resistance, okay. So this for me was a key resistance level to be entering, and you can see this is $9.97. I just want to show you how I get proud, okay. I love trading. This high, look in the top right, the high was $9.96. $9.96, okay. My entry, $9.95. Who shorted the top? Your boy. So yeah, that was just like the most perfect short entry. How did I find this short entry perfectly? Simply horizontals, okay? Was a major factor. I'm now going to go through a few others. But yeah, I just wanted to first highlight that massive resistance line that we saw there, okay? So now we can cover a few more factors as written here, okay? So we saw obviously the horizontal resistance. I've started with horizontal, but that is one of the main reasons, okay. We also saw a low volume node, okay, so I want to just show you all this now. So we load up our volume, okay, and we'll zoom out to like don't want to zoom out too much, okay. Just need to keep everything that's in picture here, okay. We just need to keep everything that we're looking at in this recent term time frame picture, okay. So this is going back from the the beginning of February. So you see all of this price action is mapped out by a volume on the left hand side. So this is our visible volume price ranges, okay. So obviously this area right here of $9.27 is where you've seen the most volume come in, okay. So you've seen a lot of volume come in at these levels, okay. You see this short I took, you see this short was exactly in this low volume node, okay. Very, very, very low volume. You can see, I just really hope you can all see my screen well, because we see a very low pocket of volume in the volume node, okay. So this means price does generally not stay in this region long, okay. And we did not stay in the region long. We literally hit it by the wick and we came back down. So now there's confluence, okay. And this is always what we're searching for, confluence in trading, okay. So now we're seeing confluence of the low volume node. We're seeing confluence of this horizontal resistance, okay. This hold resistance that flipped into support, and that was back tested as support, resistance, resistance, and again once more resistance, okay. So now that's two factors coming together, okay. So what else can we see here? The 26 exponential moving average on the 4-hour chart, okay. So obviously we're on the 4-hour chart here. Okay, zooming in a little bit. I hope that you can see all this okay. Obviously now we're almost like 2 days later, so this 26 EMA has come down. But at the time, okay, at the time of taking this, the 26 exponential moving average was higher. Okay, so it was higher up here. So obviously now it's you can't tell very well, but because the prices obviously continue down, the EMA is moving downwards. But this was a little bit higher. But then you have confluence now of three factors coming together: the horizontals, the low volume nodes, and the 26 exponential moving average on the 4-hour chart. Okay, and then the final bit that I would like to go through here is that you also saw. Okay, so you also saw taking a fib from the swing high. Okay, swing high to swing low. Okay, what did we see here? We saw the 382 Fibonacci level. This gives you a lot of confluence in this zone. Okay, obviously we hit it by a wick. We wicked into the 382 Fib level. No close above. Okay, bearish. Okay, bearish, 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 bearish. What's your most common retracement in a downtrend? 382. Well, then the downtrend continues. Okay. So yeah, this was a massive for me opportunity to go short. This has ended well. I'm still in the short actually at the moment, but yeah, I'll go through. I think I write it here anyway. So yeah, stop loss. Let me go through the stop loss before I might mention about the targets. Sorry. So my stop loss was simply placed. I can't even remember now. So stop loss $10.09. Okay, so my stop loss was just basically above this 0.5, $10.09. You can see here why. Okay, so you're looking here, obviously this wick above the 0.5, but mainly trading it from the 0.5. I will load up the picture to remind you all. So obviously in the time, okay, well, I haven't got any of it wrote on this chart, okay, but it was $10.09. But the reason why is because you had the 0.5 backing up as resistance that I didn't want to see price get through, and also this wick that I'm looking at right here, okay, from the most recent swing high to swing low. Okay, so that is where my stop loss was at invalidation, that if price continued up through $10, remember you had the psychological number of $10 as well, that was my reason of not wanting to be in this short if we continued up from here. Okay, and then you would have said that that support was too big and we have the possibility of breaking out of the downtrend if we'd broken that. So you know, my risk was about 1.4%, absolutely tiny risk for the gain that I've had so far, and this was so far a 7% risk, 7% gain. Okay, because I just before this video started, I took my first take profit, so that was locked in at $9.24 for a 7% gain. Okay, that is this was actually for me taking 60% profits because the trade of the short is not looking too good anymore. Okay, so I wanted to take 60%, move my last 40% down into my entry. Okay, so just slightly below entry, so it's like a 100%, you know, guaranteed, you know, a winning trade now. And we'll go through this together now. Okay, so we'll go through this together of why I'm debating actually closing out the short totally at this level. Okay, so let's go through this, because now this is a trade that you yourselves can undertake. Okay, it's open to join me on this trade. Okay, so what you're looking at here on Neo right now, okay, is simply this old support, as we mentioned at the start of the video, that old support that we were seeing from the 20th of, 21st of November, that old resistance that flipped into support for this 15% bounce, price is now below that price level. So what happens? It flips into resistance. Okay, you see it flip here really well. Wick. Okay, so you are flipping that old support into resistance, but the reason why I will now explain why I'm debating closing out is because we've already seen quite a big downwards movement here. And for me, you see this uptrending trend line that I have. So we obviously see the one touch, the two touches. We're now after our third speculative touch. You can see how close price got to this. We're talking about, in terms of percentage, we got to about 0.3%. okay, so basically very, very close, which I would almost class this as a touch. Like 0.3% in the grand scheme of things is what I would class as a touch. So we have now seen this this uptrending support line hold. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. Well, let me tell you this. So my targets, I never take 100% of my target. Okay, so let me visualize this for you. Okay, so when you have a target in a trade, which obviously for me was this lower support level. Okay, so that was my target, about 12%. But you start reaching, you never take 100% of your target basically. So if you enter a trade, you never are waiting for 100% to close out of that trade. Okay, as the price comes down to your target, you scale out of the trade. Okay, so me taking 60% profits on this trade is a way of scaling out of the trade as I get close to my target. Okay, we're talking about like 5% to hitting the target overall. As you get that close, we're over halfway to the target. As you start reaching those targets, as you see price potentially finding some bullish signs, you definitely need to be taking profits. Okay, that's why I took profits on this trade, and this is how I always trade. Always taking profits as price comes down towards targets. You never hold out for the whole target basically. Okay, you're always scaling out before. And the same goes for how you can scale into trades. This was obviously taken from one limit order, but yeah, that's just because the risk was so small doing it this way. But yeah, that's what I wanted to cover there. And now how you can be looking at this in terms of like moving forwards. Oh, I actually want to show you this modified shift pitchfork as well, because this was nice. So if we just put on the pitchfork, move this to a modified shift. Okay, well, it might have been standard shift now. Was it standard shift? No, yeah, modified shift. So on the modified shift, you can also see this confluence, this mid pitchfork as well. How that was another factor of coming up together for resistance. So there was just basically, there was basically moving this correctly. There we go. So that's it all mapped out correctly. With the pitchforks, you need to make sure that you don't accidentally miss the pivot. So on that pivot, you can just see now exactly properly how much confluence there was for me to enter this sorry, that was the original short. Sorry, I take more trades than obviously just the ones I mentioned, but this was obviously a confluence reason back on the few days prior to this bounce here. Of another reason to take a short at this overall level. Okay, where you can see on this modified pitchfork, where you also can just see how this midpoint is really good resistance, really good support, acts as support again, acts as resistance again, and you had this like opportunity back up at $10.70 to take a really nice short. And yeah, this was what I entered, but yeah, apologies because that wasn't actually today's trade setup. But that was just another example of the modified pitchfork just acting nicely. Okay, obviously took this video one I'm explaining right now is the this particular short. So yeah, now how I would say you could trade this going forwards. Okay, so really, if you believe this pivot could hold right now, I've not closed out of my short right yet because I would want to see price reclaim this level. Okay, so before I went long, I would actually want to see price reclaim this. Okay, so price reclaims. Okay, once price has reclaimed that low, then you could view this. Okay, on the daily time frame. Imagine we close this today. Okay, so imagine we managed to get above today, then that would be a massive lower wick closing back above support, which would be bullish. Okay, so I personally, I'm going to wait to see how the daily closes. If we close below, then even with the lower wick, then that's not that bullish, to be honest. If we close below, no good. I want to see price reclaim this level, preferably tonight. I want to see price close above here. Okay, if we reclaim this level, then that for me is a bullish sign, and I will happily close out of my short. Might be a bit too early to flip for me long, but definitely I'll be closing out my short if we reclaim this level. Okay, if you reclaim that level and you want to go into a long, because that would be bullish, especially if tonight we close out, that would be bullish. If we do it tonight, then it's definitely worth a long entry. Okay, so then you would simply be looking at then your stops below that low. You would have to be using this low that you would imagine to hold after the sell-off occurred, breaking support, and you reclaim it. Your stops can simply be placed below that low, or if you want to look a little bit lower, below that actual trend line support itself. Okay, so that's what I would be looking for. Okay, and then if we are actually have just formed a significant swing failure pattern, okay, we can start to look at some nice retracement targets. Okay, where we would be looking really for the last double top because of how it coincides with this 382. See how it coincides really nicely. So just looking for the double top first. Okay, you could simply be looking at then like a nice 3-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, always. Although that's like a strong target for you around $10.70, you would have to add your fibs from the high to the low here. And remember that you could, for example, reach again the 382, $9.70 and sell off, which obviously that then gives you an awful risk to reward. Okay, about 0.8. Rubbish. So it all depends how the daily closes. how bullishly it closes. If it's reclaimed tonight, very, very nice, and then we can go back up and test for this double top. So, well, it wouldn't be a double top target because you've lost the lows, but basically a swing failure pattern, bullish. So it all depends how this daily closes for me. You know, if it closes at $9.29 like it is now, not good. Okay, we want to see it really close above $9, say $9.40, and that's a swing failure pattern. If you don't know what swing failure pattern is, I can cover this in another live stream. But it's basically just a bullish price action variable where you see price lose a low but close back above it. Okay, very bullish. Okay. So that is how I would be looking at NEO. Obviously, if we do not reclaim this level tonight, then I will remain in my short down to my target. Yeah, but I've obviously moved my stop loss down into profits, and I've already taken 60%. So I'm in a good position right now. And this is like what a position that you want to aim to be in when you're trading. Because you basically will have a risk-free trade, zero emotions, etc. So it's a very nice position to be in. So that is what I wanted to cover here on this particular trade. So that's the NEO trade setup, and I don't think I've missed anything. Let me just quickly close this down. Cool. So that will stop that noise. So yeah, that is everything that I wanted to cover in this NEO chart of the week. And at the end of the live stream, I will go through one of the ones that I noticed with some like fatal errors. Yeah, because that will be good for you to learn. So yeah, that's NEO chart set of the week. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and if you want to get in on that trade, we do have to wait for the daily to close. So we are definitely waiting to see how that daily closes, if it ends in a swing failure pattern or not, depending, you know, for example, if I remain in my short or look for a long, it's going to be very dependent on how that daily closes tonight. Okay. So just remember that before you enter into your positions a bit too early. So yeah, let's continue on. So what I wanted to go through today in the main section, the main portion of the video, is going to be the way that I identify support and resistances. And just let me say that many traders overlook support and resistance horizontally. They really overlook it, thinking that it's too simple, it's too easy, and you know, everybody wants to go on straight to, you know, advanced theory. Okay, everybody is always so keen to do advanced theory before they've mastered the basics, and actually the basics are more pivotal in trading than the advanced theory. Okay, so you really need to master identifying support and resistances correctly. Okay, as you can see from, you know, just that random example right there, I do many trades like this. Okay, or finding the confluence between correctly identified support and resistances, and then combining that with fibs, combining that with other, you know, patterns that you've got going on in the charts, obviously. But this is one of the main ways I like to trade, okay? And I'm a very profitable trader. So this is really something that you have to master. You have to be getting it right. And so that's why I'd like to show you today how I personally do it, okay? And this is a good building block to you know, you have to have your whole building block of strategy set around support and resistance lines, okay? So it's a key fundamental of trading to understand and to be doing correctly, okay? Yeah, so that's why I wanted to cover it today, basically, because it's really key that you do this right, okay? And also, by knowing how I do it, then you can also benefit that when you view my charts, you will have an understanding of why I've identified certain areas, okay? So yeah, let's just read out some of the points that I have here. If you mark out an incorrect level, okay, so if you incorrectly mark out a support and resistance zone, you will likely lose money. Why will you likely lose money? Because just like there, for example, if I had incorrectly identified the resistance, I'd have shorted there, and then the price would have gone through, and I'd have been like, why is it gone through? Well, it's because I've incorrectly identified the resistance. Likewise, if you incorrectly identify a support, you buy the support, price drops straight through it. Why? Because you probably incorrectly identified it. It wasn't actually a valid level, okay? So yeah, like, that's what I wanted to say first. If you mark out an incorrect level, you will likely lose money. So though you always need confluence with the horizontal. So what I mean by this is whenever you see a support and resistance, you don't just trade off of it alone. You need to see the confluence. You know, for example, Fibonacci. Okay, it's a nice way to find confluence because they're both horizontals. Okay. So yeah, always look for confluence, key point. Okay, point number 2, that you want to see multiple touches onto the support or resistance on a high term time frame. So when you're looking for your support and resistances, okay, you want to see these support and resistance lines get multiple touches on a high term time frame. So obviously, like we were looking at on NEO, just for this random example, this one back from the 20th of November, we obviously can see several touches of this on a high term time frame. Okay, this is actually not the best. It's kind of washed, so you see how you get like a bit of a washed level here with too many candle closes. But for me, this is still a valid level, and you can see how price reacted from it and got a 15% bounce. It was obviously a valid level. Okay. And this is kind of where like experience comes in, because some people wouldn't have even labeled this thinking it was washed already. Okay, I label it and it has a 15% bounce, and it's like, yeah, obviously some of it does definitely take experience. So yeah, that's just something I would note, that it does come like experience doing this every single day for the last 8 years. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to note, that you do want to see the multiple touches basically onto support and resistances on a high term time frame. And I'll go through some other examples to see how I do it, like not using Neo as an example. So then last point here that I want to make is horizontal levels are a skill you must master before you move on to more advanced technical analysis tools or price action theories. Okay. So basically, yeah, like as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that this is a must skill that you must master. Otherwise, you know, there's no point going on to more advanced trading strategies such as Elliott waves, etc. if you have not got correctly identifying your horizontals. It just makes no sense. Okay. So yeah, next slide we will move on to what we're looking for, and then I will go through some examples of me marking them out. Okay, so you can see exactly how I'm doing it. Okay, so let me just make this like light a second. So always start on the higher time frames first and work your way down. Okay, so this is how I will start, and I'll go through examples in a minute. You start on the monthly, you work down to the weekly, you then go to the daily, you then go to the 4 hours. So you do your monthly support and resistances on the monthly. Okay, so you start with your support and resistances on the monthly. You identify first on the monthly. You always start on the biggest time frame, whatever trading you're doing. Okay, even if you're doing like Gann charts, you're doing Elliott waves, you always start on a bigger term time frame and you work your way down. Okay, so we start with the monthly, we go to the weekly, we then go to the daily, we then go to the 4 hour. Okay, and then if you want, you can do the hour for if you're day trading. Okay, but these are the 4 general ones that I'll go through today. But yeah, so the monthly, you want to have like a system in place. Okay, as you would notice on that Neo chart. Okay, you can see how I've got a yellow line here and a blue line, and you might think, why? Yeah, what do these lines mean? What does blue line mean? What does yellow line mean? It's just a simple way of coordinating what lines are for which level. Okay, so I don't use just standard green and standard red for support and resistance. It's monthly supports and resistances are purple. If price is coming up to a purple line, that means it's massive support and resistance because it's a monthly level. You have to remember, the higher the time frame, the bigger that support and resistance is. A monthly support and resistance is absolutely massive, okay. So we're starting with the monthly in purples, the weeklies are in yellows, okay, yellow, the daily is in like a blue, sort of teal like blue, okay, and the 4 hour orange. Okay, so if you see my charts and you see these levels, you'll know now what they mean. Okay, and this, obviously you don't need to use the same colors as me, but you want some way of identifying your levels easily at the chart. So when you, for example, see price coming down to a blue level, then you would know that this is a daily support. Okay, strong support, basically a daily support level is strong. Okay, but then when you see the weekly in yellow here at $6.84 on Neo, for example, you'd like, wow, this is a massive support on the weekly. This is a definite buy signal, basically. So you'd be looking at this $6.84 as a buy if Neo got down here, because it's a weekly support level. You understand? Okay, good. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here. Okay, and now I will go through some examples. Okay, what I will do is I will pick a random coin, and the first person to comment, I will also do an example of try and pick a coin that I don't trade. Okay, so I haven't got it pre-done, but whoever comments the next coin or stock or whatever, it doesn't matter, a coin, stock, commodity, I don't mind, comment something and I will do one on your coin for you. I will do that to help you like see how I do it on a blank chart that I've never seen. So try and pick something that I do not trade. But otherwise we'll just do one on Litecoin. Okay, we'll do one on Litecoin, LTC USD. Let's just do it on a random one here. Okay, cool. So we're looking here at Litecoin USD. Okay, and then so Alex has commented XRP. Although I hate XRP, I will do it on XRP. Why not? Okay. So we're looking here at Litecoin first, and then I'll do XRP because that was the first to be commented. Okay, so we'll start on the monthly term time frame. Okay, so this is what you need to do on every single chart that you work on. Every single chart you need to do the same process. Okay, so do this on every single coin that you trade. Every coin that's on your watch list, please do the same theory. Okay, it's going to help you greatly. Okay, so we're looking here at Litecoin. Okay, against USD. So firstly, looking at this monthly level, if you're watching this back not live, then pause the video now and see where you would place the levels, and then we can see whether we've got the same. Okay, if you're live with me, then we'll do it together right now. Okay, so firstly, where are your eyes drawn to right now for a massive resistance? Absolutely right there. Okay, $109. Okay, we're on the Kraken chart. Why? Because you can see this is the monthly chart where we saw a tweezer bottom, okay, although it was followed by another movement down, but we saw a tweezer bottom. So basically you just see 1, 2, 3 wicks in a row. So you see 3 wicks all together like that. Massive support, 3 months of support, okay, that was broken. What happens? It can get retested, and that old support flips into resistance, and you see another leg down. Okay, so firstly I would have said, yeah, absolutely, this is a massive support, and it might, you can get these examples when a resistance, for instance, this is so big, you do get very close but you don't quite hit it. So a level like this, like, you don't have to hit the exact level. You can come up very close and sell off. Okay, you come up very close to it and you sell off. So that's just one thing to note. Okay, so that would be the first one that my eyes would be drawn to straight away. Okay, so basically, so you understand, we're looking for levels which have got several touches. Okay, so levels with, at least 2 touches on the monthly. Okay, so where else are your eyes drawn to? Okay, really, you're looking down here obviously at support, but I don't think we're going to be getting down this low anytime soon. But you could just have this drawn out on your monthly chart. Okay, $3. You see support, resistance, support. This is a level that I would have if we ever got down this low. I really don't think it's likely, but this sort of $3-4 would be massive support if we got down there. Going back up, obviously this is more for theory than okay, you could have this level $35 actually. So 35 looking here on the monthlies. Some of these levels I prefer to actually see what they look like on the weekly. If it's just 2 touches, obviously here we had 3. We can see what this looks like on the weekly, and we can like redefine it slightly. Okay, this looks like another week, another monthly. You see how close you get on these 2 wicks. Obviously, like, this is what you would have been looking at in the time. Like, this is like what I would call resistance, and then you can see in the time how it played out really nicely. So that's the monthly levels that I would identify here. And then we do actually have a slight another one. Not perfect, but around $50. But I think this would look nicer on the weekly. Okay, so basically you start with your monthly levels like this in pink or whatever color you choose. Okay, then you're zooming down to the weekly time frame. Okay, and I'm going to go through another example for you all in a minute, of course. But then here we're going dropping down a time frame, and now we're doing weekly. And where can we see really strong supports and resistances? Let's start at the bottom first and work our way up. Okay, wow. Absolutely, you can see straight away. I always look, by the way, to the left before I go to the right. Okay, so my eyes are just drawn to this straight away. Okay, support. No candle close below it. Okay, no candle close below. Just looking at this straight away. Weekly time frame. This is over a month of support with no candle below. Okay, support. Okay, that is a massive support level. What happened? Price hit that support, bounced up, and we saw how much? We saw a 300% move. Do you see how we went from the weekly support up to the monthly resistance? Yeah, like, if you try to overcomplicate things, it's like easy to get lost. Okay, obviously there's more levels that you would have taken profits at before we got here, but that's just working from the bottom here. Where did we find support off of that clear level? Okay, next, looking left first, because we want to pretend that we haven't seen all of this first. But where next? Clear resistance. No, because you see again how we saw support. We're talking massive support with no closes through. I really hope that you are all starting to understand. We're looking for like a level, or the way that I like to look at it, and it's very it is, I will admit that it is very chart specific, obviously, because no chart's the same. Okay, because I know that some people might be wanting to take a level like here, and this is actually quite a good level, $28, because you do get the 1, 2, 3, 4 with no closes through. Okay, I would keep $28 because it is actually a decent resistance. Although you get this candle through, it is still 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's like a month of resistance, and then you have nearly 2 months. So both of those levels are actually valid. Okay, so we're just looking through a place where price doesn't close through for an extended amount of time, where you just see wicks onto it. So then we're looking at $23, 28, 40. Can we see some more in here that are really nice? Keeping our eyes on the left of the chart. Yeah, absolutely. This is one right here. $48. Okay, that would be obviously your $50 psychological. Okay, and then moving on up. No clear levels in here, no clear levels. You obviously have one around here. You do have one more around here where you see resistance, support. So that's 72. But then you go on and there's no clear resistances all the way up to $95. Okay, you see how you move up here. You see this tweezer top, but it's just 2 weeks in a row. This is not something that I would personally label. The way that you also don't really, the level is $72. This is not one that I would label here, just the tweezer top like this. No, I wouldn't do it. But then $95, yeah, being the monthly level, and then $109. So that is then your weekly and monthly resistances lined out. Okay, then you would zoom down to your daily, and remembering trying to forget what's happened now and imagine that we hadn't traded it like this. Okay, and then you could be looking here on the daily and to get in a few more levels, but I think we actually have the key levels lined up already. So this is why you start on the higher term time frames. Okay, because for example, you would put a daily level here, for example, but then when the daily level is right next to the weekly level, there's no point adding that daily level, because you look at the weekly, it takes precedence over it because it's a higher term time frame. Okay, so yeah, that is what I'd be looking at on the daily. I think I might add in one level here actually, just trying to see which one's nicer. Yeah, so I would add in this. You see this daily level where you see resistance, support. That's another nice level. Okay, and you could actually add in one more daily level. I try and not get my chart get this too messy, but yeah, this is actually another level of around 66. Okay, so now we've identified those levels, so we see how price obviously reacted to these levels. Okay, so going back through the chart, how would have this trade played out? Okay, we obviously took the long on $23. Price moves up slightly, comes back down, holds support at 28. Okay, you saw also a rejection at 28. So this is just now showing you how it actually works. Okay, how brilliant it is. Okay, simply support and resistance is going to make you a lot of money. Okay, so we find support originally on $23. Remembering this is a 300% move. Okay, where what happens? We come up, we actually break through. Okay, and then on the smaller term time frames, you start to see this, this would be a 4-hour level, yeah? So you start to see these 4-hour levels that you would hit into, get rejected. You get rejected from this 4-hour level, you come back down and you find support on your 28, level here. Okay, and remembering it's not alone, so you do want to see the confluence, for example, for, I'm going to just use this one as an example, you'd start taking out your fibs from the low to the high. Okay, and then what happened here? You have the confluence of this $28 region that we were looking at in the past, and then below this you have the 618. And in the end, you could say, although it was held up here we're on the daily chart, 1, 2, 3 days of 28. So this is a level, but we can just remove that temporarily and just see how actually in the end it was the 618 that held us up. And imagine buying that dip at $27, because then you got in on the 300% move. But that was the original move up, retracement to the 618. And if you had bought the dip on the 618, you'd always still be in a position. But yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, now we're moving on, concentrating today not on fibs so much. But then we move on to our next level that we highlighted, $40. Absolutely perfect. You're starting to see how perfect this is. We move up to $40 and we got rejected at $40. Okay, a rejection there at $40. Price comes back down. Out of interest, where did we retrace to here? Yeah, okay. Absolutely amazing. No, absolutely amazing. Again, we retrace down to the 618 here, from the overall swing low to swing high. We retrace down to the 618 to the exact touch, okay, to the exact point. I don't trade Kraken, by the way. This is why I chose Kraken chart. I've never ever traded Kraken in my life. But yeah, obviously here we hit 618 absolutely perfectly to the exact cent before we got another leg up. I didn't want to concentrate too much on fibs, but that's amazing, isn't it? So then we saw a rejection from our key resistance level, where obviously we're taking profits. Okay, we're taking profits on the resistances and we're adding back down on the dips. So for example, you buy $23, okay, you get rejected, although here wasn't this was our 4-hour level, obviously, that we're looking at, where we can take a bit of 20% profits. Okay, 20% profits, add it back on the dip of the 618. Okay, daily level, take I will leave it up to you how you manage your your positions of how much you take, but you could be taking on a daily level 30%. Okay, then on your daily level, 30% add down on the 618 retracement, for an example. Okay, just ways of managing your risk. Okay, then you see this 40 level, how it was support, resistance, price breaks through it. What happens? Back tests support and support and support 3 times. Okay, this was a level that we identified all the way back from June 17. Okay, and it's coming into play in February 2019. Nearly 1.5 years later, it's still a valid level. Okay, so how amazing is this? Okay, we start to move up through the chart. Okay, then this old support level that we had identified, obviously back from August 17, that's old support, that old resistance that we've seen in August 17 is holding support, resistance. Just look at the perfection. Resistance broken, but here we saw a resistance touch. Okay, we're coming back down, we break through it up to this these yellows, obviously, weekly levels, obviously in yellow, apologies. Weekly we're seeing obviously in yellows, and then we come up to our daily here. Okay, this level that we had identified again back in August 17, how perfect is it right now? Okay, we're seeing resistance, and talk about to the touch. Remember, I've honestly swear I've not done this on this chart, and you can just see how it was perfectly resistance and to the exact touch acting as support once broken for the retest, breaking on upwards. I hope you can just see how perfect this is. Literally support and resistance lines. Okay, yes, $66 we break through rapidly the $72 as well. Okay, so if we'd been taking profits here, you're not annoyed because you're taking profits. That's absolutely brilliant, but obviously you are blasting straight through here a daily and a weekly level. Okay, and it's important to remember this isn't a science. None of these levels have to hold, but you can see from the examples we've gone through so far how brilliant they are. Obviously this was an extreme pump, okay, where we pumped up, we went straight through our daily, straight through our weekly. Where did we find resistance? On the monthly. Okay, so that was an extreme move. We're not going to lie, this was an extreme move that we saw up here. Okay, straight through the daily, straight through the weekly. Where did we top out? We topped out at the monthly resistance. Okay, so we hit the monthly once, we hit the monthly twice, we hit the monthly 3 times, we sell off drastically. Where did we sell off to here? Okay, you start to look down here, and we can zoom down to the 4-hour now to see a bit of a clearer picture of what's happened. Okay, so you get rejected at the monthly a few times, you sell off. Okay, where did we sell off to? We tried to hold support on this. You can clearly see that support tried to hold on this old weekly level where you saw a good day of bouncing. Okay, you saw a good day of price stream trying to hold up at this level, trying to hold it up, sells off. Okay, sells off, couldn't hold the weekly, we sell off to exactly the daily level here. Okay, so we hold off onto this where we bounce around 1, 2, 3 days, and then we obviously found support there, and we're talking about this was substantial move to the upside, okay, from finding support on this daily. And if you look at this here, you'd be thinking, why have we found support in this region? And we know obviously all the way back from when we had identified this level all the way back, and then this is where we ended up finding support from for what propelled us up to our new high. Well, sort of, although it's still in a daily down, this downtrend, because this is just at this point another lower high. But now we do have from this low a higher low. So what you want to see now is the trend actually changing. Okay, so we want to see this trend changing to form a higher high at this point. Otherwise, okay, there are 2 scenarios. That this was obviously the high, this was a lower high, so a lower low, sorry. This was a lower high, you move down for a lower low, okay? Or you formed a low, this was a high, this was a higher low, and we move on for the higher high. That is your bullish or your bearish scenario, okay? And this is just your equilibrium of the move right now. Okay, so that was the equilibrium where we retraced to 61%. Just perfection, isn't it? Isn't trading just perfection? Okay, this was a hitting the 61 level exactly, and this was a bounce of nearly 10% from a 618. you know, this is I like to do this. Yeah, you trade this daily, 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 daily. Okay, and this was obviously a 4-hour level. So let's keep that fib back. No, actually, let's keep the fib off for a second. 4-hour level. Okay, 4-hour level. What happened here? We had no. Obviously, we're just looking, pretending we hadn't seen what happened. We're seeing this on the 4-hour. Okay, wick, 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 wick. What is this? No candles closing through it on the 4-hour. This is our 4-hour level in orange. Remember? Okay, 4-hour level in orange. We see this 4-hour level. What are we doing to add confluence in? Remember, we always want confluence. Fibs freight taken from swing low to swing high. What do you see on this level? Confluence between 4-hour support and the 618 equals a buy 100%, 100%, 100%, 100% equals move up by 9.5%. Okay, how perfect is that? Okay, and now I will do the request, which was for thank you. I'm glad you enjoy. So I will do XRP as that was the first request. Okay, so XRP, again, I really honestly do not trade XRP. I do have the levels mapped out because it's on Bitfinex, but I will do it on a chart I do not trade. XRP, USD, I don't know. Kraken again, why not? Because I don't do this exchange. So here we are on the Kraken chart on XRP. I would just like say that I really do not like XRP, by the way. I'm not a fan of it. But for the education, I'll go through it. Okay, so obviously, I mean, firstly, the reason I hate XRP, you know, look at the levels. They're so disgusting. Massive pump, massive dump, massive dump, and this is like a coin that newer traders love. Like newer traders love this coin. I literally don't know why, but so many newer traders love this coin. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, looking here simply for levels for you all. So let's just do this properly. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, so the monthly, where's our monthly level right now? Okay, really clearly, actually, the monthly is right here. So we're looking at monthly supports. Okay, at around 26 cents exactly. I would say that is your monthly support right there, with resistance, wicks, 26 cents is your monthly support right there. Okay, where's your monthly resistance is coming in here? Okay, I'd have to just look at this tweezer bottom because, you know, you got the tweezers that are kind of really similar to here. Okay, really similar how you then just get wicks. It's not the most defined levels, and it's just because it's XRP. But yeah, that's the range that I'd basically be looking at. So this is like your trading range. And you got this like nice little trying to click. Then you got this nice little trading range to just be trading in. But that's your monthly levels that you'd be looking at. Okay. Then we'll zoom down to the weekly. Have anything else here on the weekly that's very nice? Okay. So on the weekly, you could be looking at. You've just got this high region here, but this coincides with the monthly. So I would add a weekly here, but too close to the monthly. Yeah, there's not really any like really clearly defined levels on this chart because they all seem so washed. Yeah, I would add in this one actually. So here we go with a weekly level. You just see how nice it like actually played out. But you see here where you had the close and then you wick. So this is then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 weeks of you know, unable to get through, and then it did coincide with being the top. But even if that wasn't, I would have just identified this as the weekly resistance with like the candle unable to close here. You could also see like from here how you like wick. So like you could really use both of those. But yeah, basically that would be looking at your resistances, and that's your weekly and monthly resistances on XRP. Daily support and resistance. Yeah, we have. Yeah, you do have a daily support and resistance, although not amazing. But you do have this daily right here. So you do have like some. So you do have there. Those are the daily support resistances that I'd be looking at for XRP. Okay, this daily is kind of like washed, but you can see here how it just is acting like obviously support, resistance, support, and you're on it at the moment. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on XRP right now. looking at this on a lower term time frame, remembering that you want confluence, I would see this as a descending. Yeah, you've obviously got a downward sloping trend line. Yeah, okay, so we've got a downward sloping trend line on XRP. So that's a massive resistance right there. So just in terms of trend line, you've got this massive resistance trend line that's holding you down, but you are being held up by this support line as well. So it's like a trade. If you've requested XRP, you want to get, you're learning so much. No, that's good. I'm glad you're learning a lot. So like what you want to see really on XRP is a break and hold, and then you go. Okay, so your trade opportunity, you're getting close. You want to see this trend line break basically, because that's what's been holding you down since April. So you know, about what are we on now? We're only on the 5th, so it's not too long, but you obviously can see that's a clear trend line that's holding you down, that's touched 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that's a trend line that's holding you down on the short term time frame. I wouldn't get greedy with my entry, but you could definitely take an entry right here, for example, because you've broken that trend line, you're holding supports. Personally, I just don't trade XRP, but if you want to, then there is a trade potential coming. On the larger term time frame, let's see if we can get another trend line in here. I'm not sure. You might have broken this already. Yeah, it's kind of a bit not great. Well, I guess here you have a larger descending triangle, actually, don't you? Be quiet, Siri. So here we're looking at like a larger term kind of descending triangle going on. So that's what I would actually be drawn to pretty much, actually. Remember that you always have to start on the larger term time frames, because yeah, I would have missed that unless I zoomed out here. So when you zoom out, you can see that that's a really clearly actually a descending triangle. Although there's a little bit too much white space, like it's just clear that it's clearly holding price down, and we've clearly got this floor. So yeah, that's obviously bearish. This is obviously quite a bearish pattern. You're being held up by this, quite weak daily support. So you've got the daily support holding you up, a little bit of a floor, but really looks like price wants to. I would much prefer to be a buyer at 26 cents. Either way, you don't want to be a buyer in this overall apex. Okay, in this overall apex, you wouldn't want to be a buyer. You want to wait for the break, okay, and trade the break, or trade the short. Okay, so you got the long or the short trades coming up, but in the apex, I don't know why you'd want to be a buyer in the apex of a descending triangle. Yeah, absolutely, you could break up, anything can break up, but in terms of probabilities, it's low. Okay, you want to be a buyer of a break outside of here, okay, not inside the apex. It doesn't make any sense from a trading perspective to be a buyer right now. Okay, it's in a descending triangle. Okay, that's a continuation pattern to the downside. So in terms of probabilities of what's going to happen, you would expect continuation to the downside. Okay, so yeah, I would not be a buyer inside of the apex. If you want to be a buyer, then you want to see the break, okay, and then you can be a buyer after you've broke or retested, for example. Then those are your two trade entries, not right now. In the apex of a descending triangle, kind of like Bitcoin. Okay, you imagine Bitcoin in 2018. Everybody was trying to buy 6K floor thinking it was going to hold. No, it's a descending triangle. It's likely going to break down. Yes, obviously you could break up from them. Descending triangles can break up. Okay, they absolutely can. But it's just like a scenario of don't be a buyer in the apex. Don't be that guy. Wait for the break or wait for the move down, and that's your entries right there, not here. Okay. So that's what I'll be looking at on XRP, and I hope that makes sense. Okay, I really hope that one has made sense for you. Yeah, let me just move back to this a second, because I want to end by saying about this trend line. Okay, so trend lines, as kind of just shown you there, I wasn't planning on doing XRP, that was just a random comment, but yeah, trend lines use the same theory that you need to see at least 2 touches to create the trend line. Okay, so trend lines are very similar to horizontals. That's just going through that example, I might as well just load it back up. That you want to see on your trend line at least 2 touches. Okay, at least 2 touches for your trend line. And you see here how you get 3 on the daily. So you get the 1, 2, 3. So you got 3 touches, and as mentioned here, 2 touches can be viewed as a strong speculative buy or sell. Okay, so for example, when you had these 2 here, 1, 2, I would always be shorting the next touch like straight away, okay, because I like trading the third touches of trend lines. Many people wait for the third touch and then they'll trade the fourth touch and it breaks. Yeah, you want to be the seller on the third touch, and you see how the third touch would have been a very big sell signal, and you see perfectly, okay, perfect example that we have actually on XRP. We see our weekly resistance lining up with the trend line equals short. Remember, we want confluence. This is a weekly resistance lining up with our trend line for the third touch. 100% short. 100%, 100%, 100% short it every single day. If I traded XRP, I'd have shorted it 100%. Okay, because what you short it stops outside of the descending triangle trend line, although at the time you wouldn't have known it was a descending triangle trend line, but above the trend line and above really this old wicked region that you would call like a real big trapped region right there. So stops above this, okay, entry obviously on the weekly, okay, targeting down to the floor, which is obviously that descending triangle floor. Okay, so you would just target would be the floor of that descending triangle, which you could say that you although not here perfectly, you got extremely close. If you look at the candle closes, you actually hit it. Okay, oops. So in terms of, I want to just draw out the candle closes, because remembering that we can actually use this as like a support as well. So looking at the candle close right here, you hit it. So that could have been actually it could have been a long entry on XRP if you wanted to get in long at above 26 cents. But then you can see here how actually it did find support of this old region here, to be honest. So you do have this descending triangle, exactly, yeah, descending triangle. But you do have that other support region that was $28 cents. 28122. Okay, so that was your like other support buy, but that would have been equaling a 25% short, and I wouldn't have taken that long, by the way, but it did get an 11% gain. But yeah, that was XRP of how perfect. Random, thank you for choosing XRP. Actually, it was nice because we can just see a prime example of this trend line to the downside coinciding with horizontals, massive resistance. Okay, massive resistance. And let's just see, out of interest, from that swing high to that swing low. No, it wasn't quite. So we didn't quite reach our 618. That's a shame, isn't it? But yeah, that just shows you that the horizontal and the trend line was too much to even reach the 618. Okay, so yeah, that was XRP, and a example randomly chosen by Alex of how perfect trend lines and horizontals are. Absolutely perfect. And this is something you have to master. As I said at the start, you have to master identifying these levels. Okay, and if you can do it correctly, then you have taken a great step forward to your path of, at least becoming somewhat consistent. This is a massive step forwards, and you cannot start moving on to advanced theories in trading until you've mastered this. Like it honestly makes no sense. You can't start cracking out harmonic patterns, for example, until you've done this. You have to master horizontals before you move on to anything else. I know how easy it is to want to move on straight away. Okay, but you just really need to master this, and I'm sure that you all will. You know, it's not too difficult, but it is something that you have to actually just practice. Like obviously, I don't know. Let's do. I'll do one that I've already got laid out. Let's just look at like EOS. I haven't actually got this. Well, I do have it laid out. Okay, cool. So obviously on here we're looking at EOS. Okay, so look at the weekly. I'll just ignore the Elliott wave count a second, but you can just see here what happened. What I mean, I couldn't even remember this happened. This was just randomly EOS. What happened here? Laid out support. Why? Tweezer bottom more or less, but no candle close. So we got the support, wicks. Okay, what is this? It's a massive support level. Okay, so then what happens? You see this? How perfect it is? Price, I would call this a rejection from the level. Remember, this is tiny percentage. We're looking at a weekly resistance. Price moves up massively. This is in my count to form wave 3. Okay, so you form 1, 2, 3. You come up to wave 3. Where did we find resistance? We found resistance on this old massive resistance. Okay, we formed a massive resistance. We got rejected substantially. Okay, we got rejected substantially. Out of interest, I can't even remember, to be honest, like where it retraced it. But yeah, not quite to 618. Okay, so between the 0.5 and 618, absolutely fine. But then we're obviously seeing that was coming down for a wave 4. So then you've got 1, 2, 3 up to the resistance level. Okay, again, that you don't close out at the exact target. Okay, you need to start laddering out as you get to it. But that is a rejection from that level. Okay, then you break through it. What happened? We come back down and retested that level. Okay, you see how perfect this is. Literally to the sense. You see how perfect this is. Okay, you are coming down after hitting nearly $6. You reject all the way down to 4.5. As you can remember, we were shorting this together. We were shorting this triangle. Okay, we broke down from the triangle. Well, I don't know how many of you followed me, but obviously I done it on a live stream for you all, where we went through EOS together, and I know some of you did from the comments. And we were going through. This was our symmetrical triangle. Play the breakout. It broke to the downside. Okay. It broke to the downside. I'll try and refresh your memories because I know many of you watched the live stream that we went through, and we literally took to this short, okay, where we were looking at this symmetrical triangle. I hope you can all remember because I spent a lot of time talking through this. So we were looking at this symmetrical triangle. Try and draw that out better for you all. Okay, and we were saying trade the break. Okay, we're not trading the apex because I was doing the live stream as we were here. I said trade the apex up or down. What happened? We broke down. We took the short. We took the short of the break. Okay, as you're breaking from that ascending losing my mouth. Obviously, I was in a long from the bottom of this symmetrical triangle. But what happened is we broke out of the symmetrical triangle. I closed my long in, slight profits, nothing to call home about, but closed out of that long, took the short on the retest. Okay, and obviously, where was our targets? It was literally 4.5. Okay. Why was that our targets? I know at least like 3 of you took this with me because we talked about it in our chats. But this was our target of the short all the way up here. It was simply the old resistance flipping into support. Absolutely perfect. We closed our shorts at the bottom and got into longs for another substantial move to the upside, where we are kings because we caught, not kings, we are champions. We are champions because we literally done the perfect trades on EOS right here, trading the break of the pattern, trading it down to the old what we were looking at, support that flips into resistance for wave 3, that then come down and perfectly retested for wave 4 here, what we're looking at wave 4. Okay, so also coincided with this parallel channel that we've got going on here as well. So that's what you call coinciding variables right there, coinciding trading variables, really buying these levels. Okay, stop losses just be low. Okay, then you can be looking, remembering where can we get targets. Okay, fibs, high to low. Where did we hit here? We were coming up to around the 0.5 getting rejected. Obviously, you always first target the 382 you see here. Come up, hit the 382 to the exact tick. Okay, first target, hitting the 382 to the exact tick, gained a retracement. So tell me, tell me these levels don't work. Okay, what was that coinciding with? Right here. Okay, a 4 hour. Okay, let's move this onto orange. Support. What happens? Flips into resistance. That is a scalp trade right there from the 4 hour, where you saw actually in the end a rejection of like 5%. Okay, 5% move from simply seeing a 382 line up with a 4 hour. Okay, now you can start to see how I like to trade every single day, and I'm just doing this. I'm charting for 8 hours a day, taking every single setup that I see, and yeah, I absolutely love it. Not just from the money, I love doing this. I love doing it. And why do I love trading? Why do I love charting? Because when this happens and you make money consistently off of these patterns playing out, off of these levels, it just feels amazing. It really does. So yeah, that was tonight's live stream. So going over support levels of support and resistance levels, obviously mentioning the trend lines as well, how you want to see the trend lines play out. Obviously, mainly that we're just looking for 2 touches can be viewed as speculative. The third touch you want to be trading, well, I trade the third touch if it's already got 3 touches. So let me draw out an example. Okay, so let's just find a clear bit of space. Okay, so you have a trend line, okay, as resistance. You obviously move up, you touch it once, you touch it twice. Okay, many traders will not trade the third touch because they think that it is not valid yet. Okay, I will always trade this third touch. I will go short here, for example. Many traders will not go short there, and you'll get another leg down. Many traders will be now like, here's our trend line, this is our valid trend line, and they will look to short the fourth touch, and then you go through. Okay, so this is like just typical newer traders getting wrecked, but you know, that's what happens. A lot of traders will wait for the fourth touch. Obviously, yeah, you might see it like this, where you actually do get the 1, 2, the 3, the 4, and then you do come down still. But I would always be trading this third touch right here. Many traders don't do that, and then you'll see something like this. But that's what I wanted to mention. With the second touch is kind of speculative, but I love trading it. 3 touches equals already confirmed trend line. So 3 touches is a confirmed trend line. Perfect, makes sense. Thanks, Dan. No worries at all. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to go over today, was really how I do the support and resistances, how I do my trend lines. Yeah, obviously going right back to the basics, but this was like a needed lesson in my opinion, to help you all out. And I just wanted to end before I forget. I wanted to go through the chart of the week that was I'm going to do this really quick because I am kind of conscious on time. I don't want this to go over too long because, you know, people watching it back, I'm not sure whether people like it when I go over on time. Okay, I respect your time. So what I wanted to really quickly mention was on this chart of the week entry, because it was a incorrect one, and this is like, if you keep doing this, you're going to lose money. So obviously this fib was taken from right to left, okay, and these fibs are like the wrong way round, okay. So he actually wrote saying, correct me if I'm mistaken, but I've learned to do the opposite in terms of being striking the fibs, or I can't remember what he wrote, but basically he somehow learned it the wrong way. And this is like a scenario where people come to me for like private lessons, etc., where they have learned from another trader and they have actually learned incorrect theory, and I have no idea how these other traders can like charge for their content, like whatever. Like some of the people have learned such bad things, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, this is like an example of an incorrect fib. Like you definitely never want to be taking from right to left like this. You need to take your fibs from swing low to swing high, and for example here is your 618 retracement, okay. So you've taken from high to low like this, and it just doesn't make sense looking for support on the way down. You want to take, in this example, you take from your low of the fib to the high up here, and then you will have your 236, your 382, your 0.5, your 618, okay, like in the correct order of how you're looking for the retracement. So I just really wanted to mention that. But the rest of your chart is decent. Like, yeah, you can see you've identified a nice support level here, okay, you have, but the fibs definitely incorrect, and I needed to mention that because you're going to lose money otherwise if you look at your fibs like this way. It's incorrect, okay. So I just wanted to mention that for you to help you out. Yeah, the others, although you were all doing like longs instead of shorts, like your setups were decent. It's just obviously you took the wrong one, but that's not really your fault as such. Like you did identify a decent, you know, a lot of you identified decent setups. It was just you went the wrong way, but I understood why you were going long basically. So yeah, that is everything that I wanted to cover in this video, isn't it? Oh, I was going to end with a Bitcoin technical analysis. I'll do a Bitcoin technical analysis for you all. I will do this because I want to do it for you all. So we'll do this, and if people have questions while simultaneously going through Bitcoin, then please ask any questions now, and I'll do both at the same time. Okay, so ask any questions if you have them right now while I'll do this Bitcoin analysis a second. So really what we're looking at, if we get a short squeeze, is our resistance, top resistance 6,830. This is if we get this move up and we end up getting a short squeeze. I'm looking for 6,830 to be strong resistance, okay? That is like a top target. If we break up to 6,000, we could see like a substantial move to the upside quite quickly. So I am looking at 6,830 as a key resistance level, okay? As you all know though, you know, breaking up prior to 6,330, we have to get through this whole region of like massive resistance, okay? So we're looking at like a massive region of resistance right here prior to breaking up, okay? And you see here on the weekly, well, I wanted to line that up exactly. So you see like the no candle closes, and this is obviously taken exactly on 6,150 more or less, 6,150. Yeah, so 6,150, like real big weekly resistance. And then obviously you can just see where there's, you know, on the daily you move it down slightly, and you do get a candle close all the way down here, which you've broken through. So really I'm looking at 6,150 as a weekly resistance next. Okay, but if we do manage to break through 6,000, you could get quite a big move to the upside as everybody tries to short, and you could then potentially see that short squeeze go on to squeeze price up quite quickly, quite fast. So yeah, I don't want to like introduce FOMO, because you have to remember that you are moving up on bearish divergences. It's just something that you have to be aware of. So obviously you are continuously making these higher highs, and RSI here you can clearly see is making lower highs. Okay, or here we're making so class B bearish divergences, we're forming a double top from this high to this high currently, but obviously if we keep moving up tonight, for example, or whenever, like, this is going to keep going up. So you could just see something like this, and then it eliminates all your bearish divergences. So just be careful, bearish divergences are there, but on a break now, you could break all those bearish divergences. The same on the histogram. You know, if we fell down now, you'd be like, yeah, we had bearish divergences. But until this downticks, okay, and actually comes down, then this can just continue up as gain as well. So you do want to be careful with divergences, and that's why I always say don't trade with only divergences, because they can just turn against you really quickly. But obviously, yeah, overall, I'm looking at the floor of this box to be a massive resistance. If we break through there, then I would expect quite a big move to the upside as shorts get squeezed, and as people just begin buying, breaking 6k, it would be massive. Okay, would be absolutely massive if we manage to do it. As you all know, I've been pretty much bullish in all my live streams. I've been saying, like, you are safe buying the dips while we are in the daily uptrend. We are in low, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. While we are in this daily uptrend, I've been buying dips. Okay, like, it's been safe to, and I've told you, like, as someone asked, like yesterday, even someone, this was on the champion chat, but someone said, you know, someone questioned, with all these lower wicks, are you worried at the moment? I said, no, I'm not worried. Like, we're still wicking down, they're getting bought up, and obviously today it worked out nicely, and there's been another few percent move to the upside. It's just like, yeah, I'm not really worried. Well, even on the 4-hour time frame here, what do we have? We have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. You know, while we keep holding these levels, then I'm really not worried. Okay, I'm really not worried. So just keep your eye on the bigger grand scheme of things here. We are in a daily uptrend. We're holding higher lows, but yes, we are hitting this massive resistance. And I just want to really bring your eyes to what happens back at 10k. Okay, where obviously 10k massive resistance. What happened? The high was 9,970. We got within $30 of 10,000, where everyone thought it was a guarantee that we would hit 10,000. Okay, everyone, if you can remember trading back here, okay, if you were around back here, everyone thought we were going to hit 10k. So what happens is you get an amazing short opportunity of losing your stop loss above 10k. Okay, short back down to the floor. Massive risk to rewards. So you see resistance of 10k, you don't quite hit it. Okay, you could potentially see this scenario again, basically. Although we keep edging up and up and up and up, we haven't done it yet. So you could simply be looking to short just here, stop loss literally above 6,000. You know, playing that back down to like the floor, for at least here, really. So, you know, there's short setups there, but the momentum in terms of price action is with the bulls. So you're looking at with the bulls, with the price action, you know, price action momentum, every dip getting bought up. But you are hitting into a big resistance where you should be like looking to hedge some of your longs, or at least take profits because of the resistance that you are hitting right there. And obviously I just wanted to really quickly show you what this fractal looks like. If we take this okay, you compare this, okay, move this over, actually just take it all a second, okay, and now we compare this to what could happen, okay, and how they compare the movements up. I think they're quite similar, so it was for me quite interesting. Okay, you see like a rapid move up. This is our 10k fractal here, so you see a massive rapid move to the upside, moving up, comparing this to what happened here. Obviously move up, sell off, then you move up gradually, big movement up, sideways, moving up, big move up, moving sideways, and you see your top, sell off, double top with bearish divergences. Okay, what we're seeing here, we're seeing bearish divergences, but we might see something like this again. So basically I'm just really aware of this fractal that could play out. if we sell off before 6k or if we just break above it. And I'm just aware of that, but I'm trading with the momentum basically of the chart, and that's what I would kind of say you should be doing. Again, none of my videos are financial advice, but you know, for educationally, that's how I'd be looking at the chart, or how I am trading the chart. But take hold of that, or would you will. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video. So question here, being a newer trader, is it worth the risk in buying now? Where would you put stop loss? Really, I would never recommend buying on resistance. Like I just could never recommend anybody to buy on resistance. Not financial advice, but you know, buying on resistance is never a good idea. Even if we break it, like you just got kind of lucky that you bought into a massive resistance. If you wanted to be a buyer, you've had so many dips to buy. I would never be a buyer on resistance basically. But if you did want to be a buyer on resistance, where could you place your stop losses? I'd really be looking at this daily uptrend, and while the daily uptrend holds, so obviously you have the daily uptrend starting from all the way back here, okay, so you buy and then you move your stop losses up on each higher low, where you would not have even been stopped out buying all the way back in February, but then you form your higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, moving stop losses up, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Well, I would keep this as the higher low really. So this for me is the last higher low. So, I mean, it's a massive stop loss. This is the problem, isn't it? So your last higher low on the daily uptrend is 4,970, which obviously if you're buying a resistance, you cannot use this as a stop loss really. It's too big. So you have to limit your stop losses, but that's where I would have my stop loss. But obviously you're not having that luxury right now if you're buying resistances. So you have to use the 4-hour uptrend. Okay, uptrend, higher low, higher low, higher low. This is a risky buy, but you would have to be like really looking for your round sort of 4,400. It's a massive stop loss, and this is why you don't buy resistances. Like, this is why you don't buy them. You want to buy the retracements and then you get a better entry to have that tighter stop loss. You're in a really difficult position basically. Because yeah, I could never recommend anyone to buy this resistance level. I would recommend let's just say I would buy dips, but I wouldn't buy the resistance. Even though I'm already in a long, I just wouldn't buy it or add up here. I'd be adding on dips basically. Okay, well that's what I've been doing for the last month now. So yeah, just be it sensible. And then if you like lose these key levels, then you can expect this sell-off to endure. But while we keep holding higher lows on each sell-off, then yeah, obviously the extended sell-off is not going to happen. Cool. So yeah, that's everything for tonight. So I do hope that you've enjoyed this one, and yeah, I will catch you all in the next one, which is, let me just see my calendar really quickly. Okay, so yeah, I think it's probably going to be Thursday. I will actually write. I will write to you all in the chat in the next few days of whether, because Wednesday I've got like a really important meeting now, but I could potentially start a bit later. I'll write to you all in the chat when the next one's going to be, but I'm imagine it's going to be on probably Thursday the 16th. Okay, so 1 week more or less. We're looking at Thursday the 16th, so 1 week 1 day for the next stream, because Wednesday is really busy for me. If that's okay with you all, Thursday the 16th I'll put it in for. Yeah, but I'll confirm on the chat tomorrow. I'll write a message. But I hope that you've all enjoyed tonight's live stream. I hope you've learned something useful. And yeah, I recommend you to obviously to watch back through the live streams. I will really quickly show you where you can watch, because there was a little bit of confusion about where you go exactly to watch back in the live stream. Oh no, someone's taken the website down. Okay, no worries. Basically, yeah, I'll leave a link in the Discord so you can watch this back, because I would recommend you to watch it back a few times to make sure you've understood the content. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next live stream, which is going to be probably next Thursday the 16th. Okay, so hope you've enjoyed, and yeah, hope you've learned something. Cheers everybody. Thank you. Good night. Bye.